Shannon Watts, Fired Up: How to Turn Your Spark into a Flame and Come Alive at Any Age. The author Shannon Watts found a new spark in life when she founded Moms Demand Action, a grassroots organization demanding tougher gun laws in the U.S. In bringing together thousands of women from across the country, she saw the power of collective action, but also witnessed how special it was when women felt empowered for the first time in their lives. This experience inspired the author to devote the next chapter of her life to doing just that, helping women to step out of the traditional confines society places on them and to realize their powerful potential. It's a glorious thing because when women step into leadership roles or band together, good things tend to happen for societies and people in need. Hopefully, the advice in the sections that follow will help you to reconnect with the things that get you fired up and to take a chance on bringing that passion to life. Reigniting your spark. From the outside, things may have appeared idyllic. The author Shannon Watts had a successful career, a nice husband, kids, and a lovely house. But on the inside, she was slowly unraveling. In fact, her inner stress and exhaustion were starting to appear in the form of eczema, a painful rash-like inflammation of the skin that was taking over her body. When she went for a checkup and her physician asked her what was going on in her life, Watts broke down in tears and the floodgates opened up. The truth was, at some point, years ago, she had lost herself. Like so many women, she'd taken on every role asked of her: wife, mother, caretaker, and career-minded professional, without pausing to ask what she really wanted. That night, she turned to something simple but powerful: a blank journal. That book became her lifeline, a place to pour out everything she'd been afraid to admit. Little by little, the story appeared of how she'd slowly drifted away from the life she truly wanted. The truth was there on the page. She hadn't just lost her spark, she'd stopped tending to it altogether. Your spark is your desire, the thing that lights you up from within. And this leads us to the central idea Watts introduces: to live on fire. She wants women to break free of society's expectations and live with purpose, passion, and clarity. To tune into their voices and let that voice lead the way, even if it means making changes that feel uncomfortable or scary. This is a clarion call to women who are sitting in quiet frustration or fatigue, women who feel like they've been sleepwalking through their lives. Maybe they're stuck in a job that doesn't inspire them. Maybe they've simply put everyone else's needs ahead of their own for so long they don't even know what they want anymore. To all those women, it's not too late and you're not asking for too much. That longing you feel for something more, that's not selfish. That's your fire trying to get your attention. Now's the time to listen to that voice you've been pushing away, the one that's saying, "There's more for me than this." Find your fire by eliminating your shoulds. Let's begin figuring out what your fire is, and we'll start with a process of elimination by clearing away the mental clutter and identifying what isn't your fire. It's important to keep in mind a couple things. Your fire isn't a fixed goal or destination, and it's not about accepting what you should be doing. Finding your fire isn't to say to yourself, "I'm going to become a best-selling author," or "I'm going to start a 6-figure business." Your fire is more like a mindset, a way of being that's fueled by curiosity, intention, and self-awareness. It's how you move through the world. In our hustle-obsessed culture, we often think that what we should be doing is making money. But that's capitalism talking, not your soul. Your fire doesn't have to earn its keep. If something lights you up, that's reason enough to keep going. You don't need likes or approval to make it worthwhile. The reason so many women feel disconnected from their fire is because they're buried under an avalanche of shoulds. You should be a good mom, a great partner, a hard worker, a loyal friend, a size 4, a smiley multitasker. You get the idea. A lot of women are trained from an early age to please, to perform, and to put everyone else first. Over time, they lose sight of what they want. But the good news is, your fire lives right on the other side of all those shoulds, and you can reclaim it by naming and challenging the beliefs that stand in the way. I'm not worthy, or it's too late for me. These are not facts. They're just outdated messages we've absorbed from a system that was never built for us in the first place. Here's an assignment. Dream on paper. Write down 20 things you'd do if all your limiting beliefs were wiped away. If time and money weren't an issue, what would you do? No more excuses. Now's the time to reconnect with yourself and get that fire rekindled. The 3 parts of the FIRE formula. As we heard earlier, the author Watts had a breakthrough when she started journalizing, realizing she had to change her life. Unfortunately, that realization didn't come with a clean 5-step plan. In fact, what followed wasn't pretty at all. She got divorced, quit her job, and tried out new ventures that often failed. But each risk, each uncomfortable step, led her to what she now calls the FIRE formula. The FIRE formula is grounded in a practical metaphor, what it takes to build an actual fire. You need heat, oxygen, and fuel. Heat comes from your desires, the passions that keep tugging at you, the issues or ideas that make you feel lit up or even angry. Oxygen is what keeps your fire burning steadily over time. It's your core values like integrity, empathy, and courage, the ones that shape how you move through the world. And then there's fuel, your talents, strengths, and skills, the things that help you turn desire into reality. Recognizing these elements within yourself is a process. Again, journaling can be a big help in allowing you to reflect on moments when you felt fired up and were compelled to act. What made you feel alive? What values did you fight for, even when it was uncomfortable? What tasks were you engaged in? As for your fuel and abilities, these can show up in so many forms, like being a connector, a creative thinker, a leader, or someone who brings relentless optimism, clear communication, or gritty perseverance to the table. Not sure what your strengths are? Ask the people around you. Chances are they already see what you might be missing. For Watts, all 3 parts of her formula came together after the Sandy Hook shooting. Her heat was to protect. Her oxygen was justice and safety. Her fuel was her communication and leadership skills. She started with a Facebook post, a single action that lit the spark for a whole grassroots movement. Before long, she was writing and delivering a press release for her new organization, Moms Demand Action. And that's exactly what you can do. Write your own press release. Say what you care about. Declare what you want to change. Own the skills you're bringing. This is a big step in lighting that fire. You'll be growing more confident and more courageous with each new step. Fighting through the messy middle. Starting something new can feel exhilarating. You've got energy, drive, maybe even a bit of swagger. But fair warning, after the initial spark, there's going to be a long stretch where you might find self-doubt creeping in. Watts calls it the messy middle. It's that space between the hopeful beginning and the rewarding finish, when you're deep in it but can't yet see the results. It's frustrating, it's exhausting, and it's completely normal. Overnight, Watts went from being a stay-at-home mom to leading a national movement. Suddenly there was hate mail, sleepless nights, and guilt over missing family events. She was questioning everything. But just when she was considering stepping away, she took a call from someone she hadn't spoken to in years. Through that conversation, she remembered that she had a choice. It was like flipping a switch. Once she realized that she didn't have to go on, it hit her. She wanted to go on. The fire was hers, and she wasn't about to let it burn out. Once you've lit that fire, keeping it alive becomes a daily grind. Expect to feel overwhelmed, lost, or like you've bitten off more than you can chew, because that's what growth feels like. It's uncomfortable, and sometimes it even feels like failure. To make it through the messy middle, what you need is a bonfire, a community of people who get it, who believe in the same things, who will show up when things get tough and cheer you on when things go right. Building that kind of network doesn't require being super outgoing or endlessly social. All you need is a little vulnerability, like letting others see the struggle, or saying, "I'm not okay," and giving them a chance to show up. And it always helps to remember, living on fire isn't just about what you're doing. It's about who you're becoming. Weathering the blowback. Let's talk a little bit about protecting your fire. If you're a woman who is stepping out of the narrow lane that society has set aside for you, there's a good chance you're going to receive some blowback. You may find that even friends and family cop a judgmental attitude when you're deviating from the norms and not prioritizing things the way women are expected to. That stings. When your choices are suddenly under a microscope, the disapproval can mess with your head. It can spark guilt, shame, and self-doubt, what Watts calls extinguisher emotions, that slowly chip away at your confidence and dim your fire. But the truth is, blowback isn't personal. Rather, it's predictable. If people are reacting, it means you're shaking things up, and that's the whole point, right? To keep your fire alive, you can't let other people's opinions run the show. This means being on the lookout for any tendencies you might have toward people-pleasing, martyrdom, and self-judgment. Those patterns don't make you noble. They just make you exhausted. So fight them off by setting clear boundaries, embracing self-compassion, and finding the courage to disappoint people. Yes, it's hard, but it's also how you stay rooted in what matters and avoid shrinking yourself to make others more comfortable. Don't let others fool you into thinking your fire isn't worth protecting. When you set boundaries, take care of yourself, and stay rooted in your purpose, you not only keep your fire alive, you become the kind of person who lights the way for others, too. Knowing when to light the next fire. We've talked about protecting your fire, but what about when you need to let it burn out? Let's look at why that's not just okay, but at times, absolutely necessary. For Watts, this moment became apparent when she was standing in the White House Rose Garden after helping pass the first significant federal gun safety law in decades. After 11 years of activism, organizing, and relentless work, her inner voice was saying, "This is the end of this fire." Fires don't last forever. Not literal ones and not the metaphorical ones that fuel our personal passions and projects. And if you hold on too long, something that once energized you can start to drain you instead. There will be a few clear signs to tell you when your fire is winding down. You'll feel stagnant, like you've taught or learned all you can. You'll feel dread or boredom creeping in, or your gut will be incessantly nudging you in a new direction. Maybe new opportunities are already knocking, but you're too busy clinging to the old fire to even notice them. Just like fires in nature, beautiful things can sprout to life from the ashes. That's where rebirth happens. The key is to make sure your spark doesn't go out with it. You'll want to keep that alive so that you can take it and ignite the next fire. The poet Sandra Cisneros is a shining example of this. At the time of writing, Sandra's in her late 60s, still excited by the next thing, seeking new fires and chasing her best work. She talks about this phase of her life as magical, a culmination of everything that's come before. It's a reminder that we're never too old to begin again, and that every fire, even one we let die, adds fuel to the next. Make no mistake, living on fire is a bold act of self-love in a world that too often asks women to shrink themselves, to snuff out their flames in service of others. But when you choose to live on fire, fully, intentionally, and unapologetically, you don't just transform your own life, you light a path for others too. And that's the real legacy. Not one perfect fire, but a lifetime of lighting, tending, extinguishing, and reigniting. Always fueled by purpose, passion, and the power to choose your own way forward. The main takeaway of this link to Fired Up by Shannon Watts is that ordinary people can become extraordinary activists by taking small, consistent steps toward a larger goal. Finding your fire involves eliminating your shoulds and recognizing the desires, values, and abilities that help you bring your spark to life. By surrounding yourself with supportive people, setting boundaries, and recognizing the traps of martyrdom and self-judgment, you set yourself up for keeping your flame burning during the toughest of times. This kind of self-awareness, as well as recognizing when things are getting stagnant or boring, can also allow you to spot the right time to take your spark and light the next fire in your life. Okay, and that is it for this Blink. We really hope you enjoyed it. And if you can, please take the time to leave us a rating because